يا لغتي عربية حسبي بأنك منطقي وبياني عربية قلبي.
No, hold on, excuse me.
Show me how you can escape.
No, hold on. You see the problem here?
No, I'm fine.
You don't see the problem. Then that would make you, sorry sir, but it would make you someone who's unaware.
The problem either. So tell us what the problem
The problem is in logic.
Yeah.
You have something called a logical fallacy, ladies and gentlemen. The logical fallacy is...
with me.
Let me stick with the ladies and gentlemen because it's also the people around. They have it as, they need to be educated.
Again, or are we going to have a conversation?
Let me speak to you, right?
People are learning.
I need to keep.
People are learning, please.
Are they?
Yeah.
I'm
Let me tell you something.
Are you?
Yeah? Let me tell you something. What's your name again? Richard. Rob. Sorry, I apologize. Honestly, I forgot. Now, Rob, if I tell you something right here and right now, do you use ration? First of all, what is this? What is a circular argument? A circular argument is to use a thing to prove a thing. Okay, how so? How do you prove that I'm tall? Because I'm tall.
I understand.
Okay, but is that you need something external from the thing in order to prove the thing. Otherwise, you've fallen into a logical fallacy called a circular argument.
There are certain
Do you understand
things we take as self-evident, self-attesting truths, axiomatic, what a term you want to use.
Okay.
Laws of logic, rationality,
so you're
our
saying
existence.
my question to you, sir,
You're
was
in the same position. Are you not?
no, I'm not in the same position.
Show me how you.
Okay, thank you. But before I show you, just to recap, your position was you can use rationality to prove rationality. Do you understand that
No,
this is?
I didn't say that.
Yes, you
I
did.
said I assume rationality.
No, you said you can. I asked you directly, and it's on camera. I said, can you use rationality? Are you telling me you can use rationality to prove it? You said yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now my question to you, sir, is it the case? Now have you understood that why you can't use rationality to prove rationality?
No.
Okay. Let me tell. Then it requires an explanation.
I know this, so you don't need.
So it's a circular argument. It's a fallacy.
Testing, axiomatic, properly basic belief. Let's call it.
So you're saying it's axiomatic. Something which is axiomatic by definition requires no evidence. Has no evidence.
I'm not sure it has no evidence.
No,
It
has
can't-
no evidence.
You have to use it in order to falsify.
What is the evidence that you have on mind?
What is the evidence that I'm standing in?
What is the evidence that you, sir, have a mind and rationality?
That we're able to speak, that I'm able to take in.
So you're using your mind and rationality to prove mind and rationality.
Correct.
So it's a circular argument.
But
So it's
I've
false.
told you that it's an axiomatic.
So it's
Use
false.
the word.
Okay. So now you're asking me,
Yes, show
how
me.
do I do it?
Yes.
Okay. Preston.
Get on with it. Come on.
No. Preston. My friend, what's your name again, sir?
I'm Andy.
Andy. Oh, I've spoken to you before. I'm not good with names. I apologize. I do.
Come on,
Rob.
Come on.
Fascinating.
Hurry up. No, I'm gonna have to.
He's not going to prove. Yeah, let's go.
Go on.
What is required in order for rationality to be accepted as, in your world, self-evident or axiomatic, is something above and beyond the rational realm that endows whatever it is with rationality. In other words,
Are you using your rationality to come up with it?
no, hold on, no, I'm not. This is what I'm going to come to. I'm actually not using my rationality. Wait a minute.
Are you sure Mohammed Hijab?
Okay, no, I'm not going to be using my. No, hold on.
Philosophy, go.
I'll tell you from a theological Islamic perspective. I'll tell you exactly what we believe. Muslims, and this is our explanation, believe that we are born with something called the fitrah. Okay, hold on. Calm down. Calm down. It's not circular. Calm down. If you want to hear an explanation,
I know about
then okay. The fitrah is a non-rational reality that every human being is.
You don't have evidence.
Oh, hold on. No, hold on. It's a non-rational reality that all human beings are born with. We justify our rationality based on the fact that we have something transcendent, eternal, an entity above and beyond the scope of the universe that then endows human beings with rationality.
Yes, that's a claim. Okay. Now
Yes, it's a claim. Now, it's an explanation. That's my explanation. What I'm saying is, what other explanation do you have for explaining the fact that we have rationality?
I've just told you what mine is.
No, you have nothing.
Shifting of the burden proof.
You have nothing. I've told you I have an explanation.
No,
What's yours?
You've made an assertion.
No, I've made an explanation. I've given you an explanation.
There's a difference between an explanation and an assertion. You've made an assertion.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Back it up. Prove it.
Sometimes an assertion can take the form of an explanation.
Mohammed,
Why not?
I'll be honest with you, you're
Different
digging a
things in
hole
language.
here, you can't
No, they're
escape
not.
from.
No,
they're not.
Rob, you dig yourself a hole.
Andy.
You're in that hole. Don't twist it. No, go back to rationality because it's very crucial.
Okay,
Yeah.
my belief in rationality.
Yes,
why
sir.
do humans have rationality? Why do they believe
Yes,
they
that's-
have
that's-
rationality?
yes.
Is based
Are you
on
an
the
atheist?
teachings. I'm a human being.
No, but are you an atheist?
Oh,
Alan?
what
make
is
a
an
difference?
atheist?
What is your theological belief?
I have none. I just read.
Agnost. Okay,
Yeah.
nice one. Okay,
So
sorry.
he's neutral. So
My,
he wants to
Yeah.
understand.
my evidence, and people can
Yeah.
dispute
Yeah, that's
it,
cool.
is based on civilizations that existed before us. The ancient Greeks, the works of Aristotle, Socrates discussing this very thing, and the evidence that they used to prove it. And you have the ancient Egyptians,
Yeah.
the Sumerians, the Mesopotamians,
Yeah, okay, interesting.
how they discussed it. That is what it's based
So,
on.
Preston, based on your logic, let's take your logic because I like what you've said there.
Does everybody understand what's going on?
Would you say that something, an idea, which is cross-cultural, and defies the boundaries of culture? What I mean by that is that you're from Africa maybe, or from yeah. In African culture, you have certain customs. In Arab culture, you have certain customs. In South African culture, you have certain customs. Something which basically goes above and beyond the cultural landscape and goes into so basically an idea which is present across cultures and across times.
Yeah, they call it superstition.
No. What I mean by an idea, like for example language exists across cultures and across different places and times. Mathematics exists across cultures and across different times. Do you accept that ideas that exist across cultures and across times, yeah, are something basically which are above and beyond the sociological time frame? So what I mean by that is the idea of God, the idea of monotheism. It's the first time I use the word God here today. The idea of monotheism, the idea of,
What a surprise.
yeah, the idea of monotheism is something which is exactly what you said. It's something which is not specified to one particular culture, has existed aforetime, is cross-civilizational, and it's it's got more than it's got a broad time span. So it's not just, let's say, a 21st century phenomenon.
Sure, yes, I agree.
This is more than you can say for atheism. Atheism is not as we've just described. It's a very new phenomena. As it relates, yes, it is.
Study
Yes,
all
it
Greek
is.
philosophy. On what are we disagreeing?
What are we talking about?
On what point are you disagreeing?
Atheism is
When
as
Neanderthals
a,
walked the earth, when Neanderthals and early Homo sapiens walked the earth, they didn't worship God. They
That's a
didn't
claim.
know about God.
That's a claim.
That's not a
No,
claim.
yeah, it's good. That's a claim.
That's
so
a claim.
That's your claim. Your claim is based on
Your own-
inference.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's simplify this. Muhammad was a human being, the prophet.
Yeah.
No, we're talking about.
No,
God here.
but I'm getting back to what
Okay.
you're saying. He's a prophet. He brought to the Middle Easterners the word of Allah and taught them about the Quran. But he was a human being.
Yes.
Before he was born, what were they doing? They weren't worshipping one God.
No, yeah, you're right. They were doing magic.
So
Okay,
people
no.
didn't know about
no,
one
hold on.
God.
Preston, what we're not saying is that everyone believed in God.
Yeah, now they
And what I'm not saying is that no one was an atheist.
No, but what
do you
you
understand
said
what I'm not
was-
saying?
you said that
no, let me
atheism is
clarify.
the 21st
No,
century thing.
I didn't mean it.
No,
like
no,
that.
no, no.
I didn't mean it like that. Let me take a step back. Yeah, because I can see how that can be misconstrued. No, I don't mean it like that. I don't mean it's a 21st century thing, i.e. it didn't exist before. That would be ridiculous. I'm saying
But what I want to go back to is what you're saying. You're saying rationale is something above human beings that exists and is then passed on to us. That is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And what is your evidence for that?
I'm saying that is the best explanation for the existence of human beings.
What is the best
Let me tell you what basically. No, hold on. There's too many of you now. There's about four. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of you. So what I'm saying.
Invite us all in.
No, it's okay, but one voice at a time, because otherwise it will just become a little bit too much.
Okay, I'll simplify. What is your evidence that rationale
Okay.
exists above us as an
My
entity?
We don't even have to go that far. All we need from them is evidence that the fitra exists. That's the only thing we
Okay,
need.
yeah. Okay,
If they can demonstrate that's true, now they've got a foundation.
Okay, fine.
Go for it.
So what we're saying is, listen, this is important, because when you're asking for evidence,
Yes.
this is important,
Yeah.
and I want everyone to remember what I'm about to say today. Yeah?
Yes, school teacher.
No, I want you to remember. I want you to remember, and you to remember, and everyone.
And the audience at home.
And the audience watching at home. Ladies and gentlemen, right? When you speak to an atheist, when I'm speaking to you right now, when he asks for evidence, the first thing you have to ask the atheist,
He's not atheist, he's agnostic. by
oh
the way.
sorry, I do apologize.
atheist.
Oh, he's
No, no, no,
atheist.
no, 1 second. That's a new claim. Last time we spoke, you said you're an
Soft atheist.
theist, agnostic, or something along those
Let's
lines.
not divert.
Anyways,
I'm an
digress.
agnostic.
let me, it does,
Agnostic.
whatever you are.
There you go.
Okay, an agnostic, a
I'm
negative
explaining.
atheist,
So he's
whatever.
not sure.
No problem, he's not sure. You're not-
Is it close? It's closer
Oh,
I'll
no,
educate
yes.
you on that later.
So let me tell you something right here and right now, Rob.
Go on.
Rob, let me tell you something. When I speak to you right now,
Yes.
in my mind, from a philosophical perspective, Andy, yeah, from a philosophical perspective, Preston, I believe that the highest level of evidence fulfills three different criteria. Let me tell you what I believe, yeah? The highest level of evidence has to be incorrigible, has to be eternal, and has to be necessarily true, not contingently true. Let me unpack that, please, yeah? This is something, basically, incorrigible means something which doesn't change. Eternal means it's incorrigibility and eternality, right?
Always remain.
It will always remain. It will always remain, yeah? And number three, it's necessarily true and not contingently true, which means that, for example, it's contingently true that I'm wearing this thing, yeah, this beautiful, this nice one, yeah. I'm joking. This jumper. It's contingently true that you're wearing that, or that you've got that nice hat on, or whatever, yeah. But it's necessarily true that 2 + 2 = 4. It couldn't be any other way. Understood? Do you get this? Do you accept that or not?
I'm still waiting for you to give us the
Listen,
evidence.
please,
Within the rules of
please.
arithmetic.
Yes, it's absolutely right.
We've set
It's
up
good
rules of
caveat.
arithmetic.
Within the rules of arithmetic, 2 + 2 = 4 is not contingently true, but it's necessarily true. Okay. What are we saying here? Something which fulfills those three criteria does not exist. Wait a minute. Say that again. Okay, I'll say it one more time.
Are you speaking with yourself or me? Or
No, let me tell you. No. It has to be.
That's intellectual, honest debate.
If
No,
you
no.
don't get 1,000 thumbs up for this, I'll be most disappointed.
No, listen. No, wait a minute. Let me tell you what I mean.
And job offers.
No, hold on. What did you just say? I'll say it one more time.
I'll say to you, what did you just say?
No. I'll say it one more time.
Okay.
I'll say it one more time. Something which fulfills those three criteria, whether it be mathematics, whether it be rationality, whether it be science, anything you bring, logic, deductive, inductive, abductive, anything you want, will never fulfill those three criteria.
So why did you bring it up?
I'll tell you why. Because now we know what we can't give evidence for. It's important when you're asking me for evidence.
But have I ever...
No, hold on. I'm not saying you've said this, but in my mind, the highest level of evidence is that. But you have to understand that if you ask me for evidence on that level, you can't bring me evidence for anything. Do you get me?
Have I asked you for
No, I'm not.
So you're saying you can't make that the criteria when you can't bring it yourself?
Yeah. Now, the point is, what kind of evidence do we as human beings operate with? This is a question. The answer is as follows.
Did you understand that, man?
Did you understand?
I understand
Yes.
that.
So you can't give a criteria which
No one can fulfill that criteria. That criteria is not fulfilled anywhere.
That is the
Okay, give me one exception of something which is necessarily true and eternal and incorrigible.
No,
Give me one
but
thing.
In layman's terms, just to simplify this, the onus is not on me to prove that there is another world.
I'm not saying the other world. I'm not saying anything about another
But
world.
you're talking about a higher
Wait,
sense of rationale.
no,
There's a
Preston.
Fetra,
No, Preston,
what's
please,
the
please.
Fetra?
I'm saying,
high
look,
intelligence.
Yes.
if I say
What he's attempting to do in
Look,
a
look.
roundabout way is trying
Robert.
to get to a position where he can give us evidence for the Fetra. If he can do that, now we are...
yes, yeah. But no, we have to understand what. No, I think the new way of discussing, and this is, I believe, a revolutionary thing I'm going to do in Speaker's Corner.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
what is it? Be concise.
Yes, I have to. It's going to be a paradigm shift. I refuse. Wait a minute. What are you talking about? No.
You're doing all the talking here.
No, I'm sorry, but I refuse.
Come on, sum me up.
I refuse to now fall for this trap. I used to fall for this trap when I was younger. Say, give me evidence. I say, wait. And then I used to give the evidence. No. The first thing that must be established is what kind of evidence we're talking about. Okay. Because here, if you say something is, you want evidence, I give you any evidence, you can criticize it. You know that? If you give me evidence for anything in the world, I can criticize it.
Is it reasonable to do that?
Yeah, sometimes it can be, yeah?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
So,
No, I believe it's from my worldview, you know. What I'm saying now is subjective opinion.
Okay. Well,
Having said this,
why would you do that?
no, because I'm entitled to do that.
Okay, you just
Okay, Rob.
shooting the
Rob.
breeze, right.
Rob.
Freedom of speech.
What I'm saying, and I want to see if you accept what I'm saying or not. What I am saying here and now, and if you accept this, it's going to be an easy conversation. And it's going to be easy. Do you accept that the way that we as human beings come to conclusions is not by trying to find certainties in the three ways that I've defined, but it's trying to find out that which is probabilistically true? I.e., I say,
The best explanation.
the best explanation. We say, we don't, in the morning, when you check your phone, okay?
Okay, sorry, can I just stop you? I just want to say one thing. Are
Yeah.
you saying you can neither say there is no God, neither can we for certain say there's God? We go with the best probable explanation.
Kind of. But what I'm saying is probability works in the following way. What I'm talking about is
that's a
epistemic
breakthrough.
probability. Listen, what I'm saying is, look, we determine what is true and false based on how we probabilize things in our mind, yeah? We say, okay, this is probably true. for example, when you go to the ATM machine and you put your card in, Andy, and it says, and it has all those zeros, yeah?
Andy?
Because I did the same thing. I mean, I put the card in and it says 1, 0, and there's so many zeros, but there's a minus. There's a minus before, isn't it? Well, listen. When we do that, ladies and gentlemen, we're not seeing the money in front of us, do we? We say it's probably true that that money is there because we have, probabilistic reasoning. That works with every.
We have rational reasoning. We know how the system works. That money is put into.
Yeah, okay, but
and
we
see the
so we say probably. So
and put the money. So we know it's a fact. We know it's not. It's not
wait a minute.
guesswork. We know it's a fact.
So you're saying, oh wait a minute, this is good. You're saying that now using empiricism. Are you saying that anything that we don't see, we don't believe in?
Yeah, but we see.
No, is that what you're saying?
We see.
Is
Do you see your mind?
No. Is your claim?
See my-
Do you see your mind?
Do I see my mind?
Can we see
Do you
our
mean
mind?
the physical brain or the conscious?
No. Listen, like, for example, I'm imagining something. Can you see it?
Can I see what you're imagining?
Yes.
No, but I
But
can
does it
tell by
exist?
the way your eyes
But
are
does it
moving that
exist?
you're imagining.
Preston.
Okay, I'm not moving my eyes.
Yes, you were.
Preston, this
No,
is a
I'm
good
not.
question.
Yes, you are.
Preston, this is a good question. But let me tell you something. Sorry. Preston, that's not what he asked. He asked. He said.
No, it is a
Preston,
red herring. What
Preston,
you said about,
Preston, please.
Okay, let's go back to the
No, I like this.
The FETRA. Let's
No. We have to first establish evidence. We're not going nowhere.
Yes, please
No.
tell us
Let me
about
tell you
the
something. Preston here has told me that if you don't see something, or is assumed, or is kind of alluded to the fact, if you don't see something, you can't believe it.
I didn't say
No,
that.
didn't say that.
He
He
didn't
didn't say
say
that?
that. He didn't say that. I have to be true.
Okay, what did he say?
Correct him. Ask him. What did he say?
You gave an example about going to a
You
cash
said the bank,
machine.
and people have seen it. You've
You
seen
said
it.
you gave an example
Yeah.
going to the cash machine, and you said, "How do we know that there's money in there?"
Yeah.
And I said, "We know because we see the man."
Okay, so you said you see. Okay, so he did say you see.
No. But do you believe that only
Ali,
the man?
if you say you see,
the
hold on.
security guard
Seeing,
comes out of the
Preston,
bank,
is
and
what.
in the case,
Fine.
goes into the bank,
Preston.
puts the money into the machine.
Okay.
So we
Preston,
know.
please,
That's the evidence.
please. Is what you're saying, the evidence is empirical. You see it.
Yes.
Okay, so is your standard of truth an empirical standard of truth where you have to see something to believe it?
Not all the time, no.
Okay, so that's fine. So your statement there is neither here nor there. We go back to our standards of truth.
Yeah, what about a triangle? How many angles has the triangle?
Triangle.
How many angles has
This is ask the mathematician. Say this man is good at maths.
How many angles has it?
Give me three. How many angles?
Diverting, we're
What are you talking
How
about?
many sides?
Sum me up.
Okay, look.
How many sides has it got?
How many lines? It's got 3 lines, eh?
Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
Is that necessarily true or otherwise?
Within the rules of maths, it's necessarily true. Within the rules of maths.
Within the rules of language.
Okay, fine. Whatever you say.
We always need.
Maths is a language, by the way. Mathematics is a language.
The way we
Anyways,
use the English language.
yeah. But also mathematics itself is a. Mathematics itself is a language. Anyways,
What
going
is
back.
FETRA and how can you prove its existence?
Okay, now hold on.
That's what we
No. It's a good question. But let me tell you something, right? So this is important. Your truth standard is not a true standard which you're asking me to yield something with certain truth.
I've never said that, and no atheist
Perfect.
ever does.
Thank you very much. So what you're asking me is, give me something which is most probably true.
Give me something I can evaluate which is likely true.
Okay. So this goes back to what I was saying before. My best explanation for the existence of a rational mind or rational minds or minds that can process rationality is something above and beyond rationality that then endows something with rationality.
But show us why we should believe that. Why should that be true?
Why is not the business of science anyways? Why is not the business of science?
So
I'm not telling you to believe in it. I'm not telling you that.
Why?
Okay.
What evidence have you got for that?
Okay, hold on.
When I say evidence, what reason?
Let me ask you a question. You're saying what evidence, what reasons, yeah? I'm exactly saying to you that just as rationality is self-evident, I'm saying to you that the fitrah itself is axiomatic.
Prove it.
It's metaphysical.
Prove it.
Prove rationality.
I'm using it.
No, but then you're shooting yourself in the foot.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No,
yes,
no,
you are. You're basically saying this is what you're. Now let me tell you why. Let me tell you why you're shooting yourself in the foot. No, hold on, Rob, please. You're shooting yourself in the foot because what you're actually doing is you're being discriminatory. Sorry, you're being discriminatory in the way you're applying your standards.
No,
Wait a
I'm
minute. Yes, you're discriminating. You're discriminating. I'm not in the.
Let me just ask you a
Hold
simple
on.
question. You're very
No,
passionate
no,
about
no,
the
no.
FETRA. We're simply
No,
saying,
hold on.
tell us how
Preston,
it
please.
exists.
You have to understand the fallacy in your own reasoning first.
So it's wrong for me to ask you to show me
No,
how
no,
it
no,
exists?
no. Hold on, Preston, please.
Preston, what he's trying
Preston.
to do, I'll shortcut it because it's a bit long.
No,
what
hold
he's
on.
trying to do is get FITRA on the same level as rationality, the laws of logic. The reason FITRA is not on that level is because in order to attempt to prove rationality, you've got to use it. So that's circular in a sense, but it's self-attesting. And it's the same with the laws of logic. When I open my mouth to speak, I assume the laws of logic are true. And for me to even try and falsify them I have to assume that to be true.
Okay,
It's called
good.
self-attesting. Now, the fitra is not self-attesting.
How,
It's not
no,
on
no,
the same
no,
level.
no, hold on.
So
Rob,
that's why it's
Rob,
different. He
now,
needs evidence
no, Rob.
for that.
No, hold on. No, sorry.
see the difference?
No.
There's a big
Sorry, Preston, both of you have fallen into, like, you know when you walk and then there's a big mine and then you put your foot and it blows up in your face. You've fallen into that. Because what you've done here is you're saying it's okay for you to have axiomatic assumptions of some metaphysical principles, but not others. That's what exactly.
Self-attesting.
Yeah. So what you're saying.
Is the fitra self-attesting?
Yes. In the same way. Hold on. No, I'm saying. The idea of something which is metaphysical and axiomatic is that it does not require evidence.
Wow.
Why? No, that's
Hold
not
on.
necessarily
No,
the case.
yes, it is.
I'm claiming it
Yes,
needs
it
to be
is. Now, if you're saying wow, if you want to refute me, give me some evidence for rationality.
I'm not even going to go down.
Okay,
that
then
road
don't speak to me about evidence.
because
Don't speak to me about evidence.
Okay, so
Don't speak to me about evidence.
your response on why the fitra, why we need to believe it is because what?
First of all, it has explanatory power. That's number one.
That's an assertion.
And it's actually no, that's my assertion, and actually it does. If you think about
can
what I've said.
explain anything by making
No, hold on.
something up.
No, hold on. Listen. Number one, it has explanatory power. When I say that something which is above and beyond the scope of rationality, yeah, or something which has rationality but is above and beyond the explanation which is required, which is rationality, then endows human beings with rationality. That's an explanation which fits and is consistent.
يا